Hey, welcome back to the shop. Today, this is the first Shoptalk episode for quite some time. It's January 2017 and we're still in my shop. So, about 3 years ago, I started to do proper videos on YouTube with editing and projects that I wanted to show, and now, 3 years later, I have about 17,500 subscribers, 100 or 150 videos online, and a viewer base that's you guys that comment and participate and just everything under every video I post, and that's just great. So thanks to all of you out there watching, commenting, and sharing my videos. It's always cool when you see your own video posted on Hackaday or in one of the Home Shop Machinist forums. Sorry. So thank you all. And at the moment I'm always trying to improve the production quality of my videos. I started to take filming with the DSLR more serious. I added light in the shop. I'm playing with different microphones, and I have a wireless microphone set up, but I'm not using it yet. I have first to get the hang of it with a clip-on mic here, so I can do proper voice track when I have the machine running, because the clip-on mic doesn't pick up machine noise as the camera microphone would. And right now I'm filming with the DSLR and my Zoom H1 recorder on top of it as a microphone, and I hope the audio that way is also very good, especially when I'm doing talking headshots where I talk to you. So I want to give you a quick shop tour, what changed over the last year. Let's go. Okay, let's do the shop tour. We still have the workbench in place here. Next to it, still D-bit grinder and my Metabo bench grinder, which is quite a nice unit, by the way. Over here in this shelf, which was there before, but I added a space for my camera gear. So now my camera gear has a fixed place, and I have the battery charged in place here, so I can always go back here and recharge batteries and store my camera equipment. I already have a big sheet of plexiglass in the room next door to make a sliding door for this shelf, so the camera gear is protected from dust. I also have a good place to store my Bosch 10.8 volt cordless drill, which I use very frequently in the shop. Next to it I have a rack of clamps, which is also new. As before, my tool cart, which serves as a roll-around table, workbench with the vise, ultrasonic cleaner. The bandsaw is tucked away. For short pieces I don't even need to pull it out. I can use the saw in place, but for longer pieces I have to pull it out. Back there in this corner we have the shaper under this pile of rags to protect it from dirt. Next to it we have the surface grinder, and I added a rack for my grinding wheels up here, and I added a rack for the chucks of my lathe. And over here we have the lathe as before. Right now it's set up with a collet chuck and a solid tool post, which is way more rigid than the stupid original top slide that came with the lathe. Back there we still have the engraving machine, and I added some storage next to my fancy picture. I added some storage for some of the bigger templates that came with the machine or I acquired over the time. And over here, as usual, we have the Opti MB4 milling machine, which I still like. And on the table you can see the 5C indexer, where I did the teardown earlier this year, and I promised you to do a rebuild video. As you can see, the 5C indexer rebuild is done, but there is no video because I was lazy. I didn't edit the video and I have to find some time because the footage is quite a mess. Apart from that, I didn't change much in my shop. I'm very happy with the layout right now. Okay, earlier this year I also visited the Auto and Technik Museum in Sinsheim with its attached museum in Speyer, which is mainly space and aircraft exhibition, and I have some footage when I was there, so I'm going to show you some of the things you can expect when you go there. So let's have a look at that. Okay, this is the classic car exhibition in Sinsheim. I'm not a huge car buff, but it's nice to walk through there. There are a few classics that you might have seen before, like a DeLorean. A large portion of the exhibition at Sinsheim is military equipment, like this German Rappenschlepper or this King Tiger here. Just lots of vehicles out of World War II and Cold War era, like this Stuk tank. Between all the military stuff you will also find some civilian equipment like this Caterpillar D9. But a huge portion of the exhibition is military equipment, and this is the outside of the museum, and here we have a lot of Cold War era equipment. But also very much power and transmission equipment, like this huge MAN diesel engine, generators. You can easily spend a day in this museum and not have seen everything. Oh, and by the way, Mercedes-Benz built the first proper SUV, the Mercedes G4. And the souvenir shop in this museum has a KUKA robot which will give you the souvenir you want. There is also a laser engraver included in the setup which will engrave your souvenir for you. Concorde parts. I was looking at the welds on this part. And they also have smaller pieces. These are also Concorde parts, you know, the French supersonic passenger plane, maintenance manuals. And speaking of the Concorde, of course they have one. Here is a 1:87 scale model when it arrived there. Speaking of the Concorde, when you go up to the roof of the museum and to the outside again, there is a proper Concorde and the Russian Tupolev, which looks surprisingly similar. The museum in Speyer belongs somewhat to the museum in Sinsheim, and they have a huge space exhibition, and they feature the Buran space shuttle, the Russian space shuttle. And this man made it all possible. This is the engine of a F-104 starfighter with a sitting bench in front of it. And in Speyer on the outside you have a a whole mess of different pieces to look at. Earth moving equipment, locomotives, jet engines, rocket engines, a cutaway F-104 where you can look on the inside. It's quite interesting to see how good or bad some of the welds are. Some look like I have done them and others look like a robot has done them. There's also naval equipment, a proper submarine, fishing trawler, and most of the bigger pieces you can go in. Now we're heading up to the submarine. Going to the inside, torpedo launching tubes. I'm a bit over 2 meters tall, so it's very cramped for me to go through there. Medic station. On the left side is the kitchen. Torpedo guidance system. And we move further to the back of the boat. Electric panel made by Siemens. Look to the front of the boat, and now we go to the engine room. 2 diesel engines and electric motors. And the exit at the back of the boat. An Antonov cargo carrier plane, the AN-22. This thing is huge on the inside. The cargo space of it is ridiculous. As you can see, that's quite a walk from the front to the back of the loading bay. So if you have the opportunity to get to Germany and to the region of Sinsheim, go to those 2 museums. They are worth every minute you're there. Okay, and I have some footage on the setup cube that I built earlier this year. I will also put a link down in the description with some photos of the build process and of the block being in use. So let's look at that footage. Okay, I got some inspiration from Tom Lipton. He showed a very simple and elegant design for a setup block in one of the social media things, and the idea for his setup block was quite, in my mind, very elegant, and I copied it. It consists of 2 steel plates, mild steel, and a piece of structural tubing in between, welded all around. And then it's machined square, and some tapped holes up here are added and some reamed holes, so you can set up dowel pins for alignment. And the uncommon shape with the channel all around it has some advantages. When you want to clamp it like this onto the machine's table, you can take 2 strap clamps and just clamp down through the channel, and you don't need any support for the jacks or something. Yeah, you don't need anything. And then you can lock it in place. And now you have a vertical surface with tapped holes. And you can also take your workpiece and some can't twist clamps and clamp it to the face of it like this. Or you can take 2 dowel pins. I reamed them to 4 millimeters, sliding fit. So I can push in and pull out the pins by hand. And set your workpiece up on top of the dowel pins. Clamp it and machine it. Like this. Makes it very easy for setup, and also you can drop it in the vise, and now you have like a tooling plate with threaded holes where you can set up pieces, or again clamp stuff to it with can't twist or C-clamps like this. And with the dowel pins you can build simple fixtures for small production runs very easily and quite fast. So bottom and top surface I machined on the shaper, and the outer surfaces all are just milled. And I got it completely within 1/100 of a millimeter, parallel and square on each face. And I hear you. You may ask, did you stress relieve them after welding? Because it will warp. And I can tell you, no, I didn't. I did not stress relieve it, and I'm pretty sure that this thing will not move in itself. It has a very compact form factor, and there is not much way where this thing can warp. So I will check it in a few months again, but I don't think that it will move. And if it does, I can lightly touch up the surfaces on the shaper and the mill, and it's back to be usable. So that's the setup block, and I did specifically made this for the mill and the shaper and the engraving machine, not the grinder. For the grinder this is not accurate enough, but on the mill, shaper and engraver this is absolutely good enough. Okay, I think this is a good place to wrap it up. Let's see what 2017 will bring us. Stay safe, stay sane, don't do anything stupid. So thank you all for watching, and see you next time.